Hello again. So it is time for our Monday live stream with Erin, the wonderful Erin Case. Peace, the number 4, healers at gmail.com. You live rent free in my head, Erin. So we were doing a little pre-talk before we went live, and I was asking him what some of his questions were, and then I realized I had made us late. So I was like, don't even tell me what the questions are. We're just going to go live and I will hear them live. I know one's going to be about my alien self. So, Erin, what's the question about that?
Just for every so often, you see and know what's going on with your alien life,
Mhm.
correct?
I haven't tapped into it overtly in a really, really long time, but unless there's some block there that I don't know about, I could probably tap into it, no problem. I think, yeah, they just said yes, you can. Okay, so it should be fine.
You're going to do that now.
Oh no, I don't know what the question is.
Uh, well, what I was going to ask is two things. Does he regularly tap in on you, or
Oh
is he
yeah,
always
yeah,
is he
yeah.
always tapping in on you?
Yeah. So one thing that I've seen in the past, and I think this is more spontaneous, I get a lot of spontaneous visions whenever I'm in Hawaii. It feels like the veil is really thin there. I'm really open there. I'm very connected there. There's something about the water, but I think it's also about Hawaii itself. And and remember, he really likes Kauai. And that's where he found the yellow crayon and all of that. And so what I have seen before is that near the Mokes, so the Mokulea Twin Islands off of Kailua, different island. This is Oahu. Now we're on Oahu, but there are these beautiful twin islands, and the watercolor where this town is, where these islands are, it's just like it is that perfect aqua blue that like stops you in your tracks and just I don't know like what I can do with that, and maybe everybody can do this, but the watercolor there is so beautiful that I can close my eyes on purpose. Like I've done it before just to enjoy it. I can close my eyes on purpose and then open my eyes and see the watercolor and stun myself. Like it's like a heart stopper. It's so beautiful. And you can just like do that on repeat and just like, oh, like over and over and over again. Like I don't know of anything else actually. I mean, maybe looking at my kitten, I haven't tried to on repeat. Like every now and then it stops my heart, like how cute and sweet and beautiful he is. But yeah, this watercolor is just something else. Anyway, so what I've seen from my alien self and family is that, and it's connected to the moon as well. And there is this beautiful moonrise that happens over these islands. So obviously they're east facing, and there is this platform. There's a platform that seemingly is hanging in the air that is very connected to the moon, but also very connected to those islands and the water. And it seems like they are able to stand from that platform and watch me and see how things are going. And I don't think that I have to be in Hawaii. I don't think it's so much physical sight, even though everything that I just described sounds really physical in nature. But I think that that's their viewing platform of how I'm doing. But they can, yeah, they're saying yes, that they can just as easily see me from here inside of this room in Washington, even though what I described just sounds very physical, like they would see me if I was walking the beach, and that would be it. But yeah, they seem to be much more tuned into me. And they even were emphasizing that years and years ago when I still had a lot of, and remember, I learned about him during 2013, like during my first year of doing all of this, when I was still working through like the height of all of my issues, including anger. And so they were saying like, hey, remember, like he can tune into you really, really easily. So, and that means you can tune into him really, really easily if you just pay attention to it. That means that you could also tap into, absorb more of his gentle, kind, sweet energy. And then also remember, like you're kind of making him feel your angry energy. Not that like it's making him angry, but just, who wants to tap into someone that they love and feel like, oh, she's angry again, right? So in an informative way, they weren't trying to guilt me, but it kind of guilted me, which was really helpful as far as I at that point wasn't necessarily reining in my anger for my own well-being. I wasn't necessarily reining in my anger for those around me and their well-being, but I did care about this sweet little guy being much more dialed into that than I was aware of. So that had an impact on me where I was just like, like, I don't want to make him feel this. Like, that's not good. So yeah, they're very
So
aware.
does he understand human emotion?
Mm-hmm. This was not necessary anger. This was just somebody who, somebody who grew up in a rough environment and like had a chip on her shoulder, like that kind of thing. So he
So
understands that, but it's still not good to feel, especially when the person, like, there's no use for it. There's no utility in that type of anger at all.
okay. So you say they when you're referring to watching you. Are you saying that
Mhm.
him and the family watch you?
I feel like it's more than just two of them, but the two that I've ever really tapped into would be him and his alien mom. But I think there are more than
So
two on the viewing platform.
it's so. Do you think everyone's connected with him that's on that platform? Or I guess I should ask, who do you think is on the platform with him observing you? And is there always someone on that platform observing you that's connected to either you or him?
I'm seeing somebody that looks like an elder, and I'm not exactly sure who that is. And then what was your other question?
As
Sorry.
far as if they're all there watching you regularly and what connection there is as far as who is there. And are they all the same?
I think that they have a much better ability to bilocate, for example. So it's not like they've stopped everything that they're doing and they're all just on this viewing platform, just watching me all the time. I think that they have the ability to live their lives and also go do this thing. Um, so they are able to perpetually do it. And it's almost like the analogy that I'm getting is, let's say that you have doctors and nurses in a hospital, right? And they're off doing their own thing, but the patient still constantly has, let's say, a heart rate monitor. And so, like, there's still a feed that is happening so that they're still aware of what's going on with me, even though it's not necessarily something that is taking all of their focus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it feasible at all that him, because he can give you direction and advice, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Our messages. Is it feasible that it's a potentially a reciprocal relationship where you can be giving him advice, or would you not have an understanding for what he's doing if you were tapping in?
I think I could give him advice if he ever needed it. That's never been a situation that I've gotten from him. I think he shows me things that are interesting and that he wants me to move more in the direction of him and his way of being. He's more tapped in. He's more gentle. He's kinder. And actually, like, I think I have, no, I don't think, I know that I have much more moved in that direction. At this stage, I don't think he's ever needed any advice from me. I think that, like, he and his mom are pretty good to go. Like, they do a really good job with each other.
It's their awareness beyond what our awareness is. Like I
Yeah.
understand that they have the awareness of us, but my understanding is that sometimes there are guides that are still on their mission of taking care of whatever it is that they need to outside of being guides to us.
He's not a guide. He's a concurrent lifetime.
So, uh, so well, even as a concurrent lifetime can still give you direction and give you
Yeah.
a push.
Yeah. I mean, even if you tap
But
into your future self, like the future you can give you
mhm.
direction and push. So, yes.
So would he be beyond, for the most part, you being in a position to give him information outside of human existence?
I just got the answer that he's not necessarily beyond like any need. It's just that it hasn't been necessary as of yet. So there could
Those are
be
key
something
words
that
as
comes
of
up.
yet.
Yeah. So there could be. I would think they're leaving it open where they're saying there's always potential in the future for something to occur. Like, let's say that they end up having some unexpected strife on the planet, which actually reminded me that I think something did happen with that a long time ago. And they actually did ask me for help. I had forgotten. I sent a lot of aggressive protection to them. I was like, well, you got a feral animal on your team, so why don't we send you like a lot of aggressive protection? Where basically I just like got in there and was like, I can't even remember what it was, but it was basically, remember the bee in the ocean, and I stomped my foot down and I was like, don't, to the ocean, which is ridiculous, but actually worked. It was very much like whatever that thing was that was. I have such a faint memory of this. This was a long time ago. Whatever that thing was, just like sitting my energy up there and going like, no, like not on my watch, get away. Like that kind of like, this is not happening. So that was a good utility for like the level of like anger energy that I can muster when needed. Yeah.
It's so he called on that from you.
He must have. I wouldn't have known that that was happening without him telling me. I don't remember if I was in a session or if it's, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I was self-guiding or if it was a session with a practitioner, but I do remember that there was some sort of aggressor and they were like, okay, Courtney knows like how to handle something like this. And so I just popped in and was like, get out of here in a very assertive way. And then, yeah, whatever it was, like settled down and left and everything was fine. So.
Okay, so do you know if he's, just as far as our time, is he past? Is he present? Future?
I mean, you know, the whole thing, like everything is happening now, but it's being
Hmm.
shown to me as a concurrent lifetime that it's present and that their time is passing a little bit differently than I would have anticipated because in my head, this is ridiculous. So in my head, he's still this little boy, but 12 years have passed since the last time I saw him. And I think the time functions a little bit differently there, where he's growing a little bit faster than you would expect if he was just, let's pretend that he's 5 and he's turning 17. It's like it's more than like a typical 12-year increase. And it's already in the phase where his mom transitioned into being a baby. And so now he's the adult and she's the baby. But I haven't really tapped into that much. I still see him more in the youthful, younger version. I think it's because I like it a lot. Like I think it's really cute. And so I think there's something really endearing about how much he loves his mom. And for me, for whatever reason, that's a more appealing dynamic and energy to tap into rather than tapping into the notion of him taking care of her as a baby. So there's just something so sweet about the dynamic of like how much she cares for him and how well she took care of him and how much he loves her. And it's an energy
It's,
that
so
I like and need.
you go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just finished. I think there might be a lag. You got grainy all of a sudden. Am I grainy? Guys watching this, like, can you type in the chat and let us know, like, am I lagging again? Because I did close out the things I said I was going to close out yesterday. Is Aaron frozen for you guys, or is it me? Or is everybody frozen? Ah! Oh, Aaron is, he'll come back. He has the link. So, Anyway, yeah, it's interesting how there are these really fascinating things that have been brought into my life and my awareness that I just like, I don't think about them that often. I think that sometimes my brain is a little too earthbound. Okay, Aaron is back. Okay, so J
I'm back.
Manuel said, I think J Manuel said it's good, as in my feed is good. So that's great. Because last night, Aaron, when I was doing the guided session, there was a bit of a lag on my end, but I'm pretty sure it was a couple of different tabs that I had open that I closed before logging on today. So, okay, welcome back.
Thank you.
Of course.
So still on the alien you,
Mm-hmm.
the do you know where he is or where the family is?
Like, what's the name of the planet?
Yes.
No, I haven't asked anything like that. I know that it is like a red-orange planet, kind of like what we would think of as being Mars, but it's definitely not Mars. Um, that's all I know.
So is it feasible that it's totally a totally different dimension and not even this dimension?
I am so unfamiliar with that type of concept. When you say a totally different type of dimension, what does that mean? I know people talk about 3D
That
and 5D, and so I assume that's a different dimension because of the D, but what do you mean?
as far as uh, there's some beings that travel interstellarly, but
Mhm.
they're traveling from other places that aren't places that we can connect to. So
Or
for
not.
some of us, I'm sorry.
Like, are you wondering, could we actually physically get to them? I'm getting a
No, I
no.
wasn't asking that.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I'll answer it. No,
no,
like
I
they're
was.
able to get here. We're not able to get there.
But I was just thinking in terms of is it, for instance, a lot of times when we think of of extraterrestrials, a lot of times people think of extraterrestrials based on this galaxy, the planets here, the planets that are outside of this galaxy, and not in the sense of uh, another type of density or another vibration, meaning another dimension.
That's interesting.
The,
I always assume it's a different density and a different vibration. People don't think that it's a different vibration or density?
well, if you look at it like this, my understanding as far as dimensions, we could be in one place
Mhm.
and still have another dimension that's right next to us. So
Yeah.
where we could both be sitting in the middle of a park with people from another with entities from another dimension traveling all around us, but they don't see
Yes.
us and we don't see them.
I assume they do see us and we just don't see them. So there are beings here that don't see us?
I doubt it.
We're
I
the
think we're
weird
pretty.
thing that they hear spook stories about? That's hilarious. That would be so
I,
funny.
I would imagine. I never really thought about it. It's feasible that there's beings out there that aren't aware of us, or that we're in a frequency that they can't fathom.
I just assume, and maybe this is closed-minded of me to assume this, but I just assume that humans are some of the more closed-minded, sensory and awareness lacking of a lot of the beings. One of the reasons for that is that if you pay attention to other animals like cats looking at walls, and everybody knows there's probably a ghost there. It could be a gnat, but it's probably a ghost. Just as far as like the cat having certain behavior over and over and over again in this one spot, even though there can't just be a gnat there over and over and over again. Um, and I think I've mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. It's only a theory, and I have no idea if I'm right, but probably the science will be out there if it's not already about this. When and guys, I would love to be fact checked on this. I would love for somebody to tell me if this is definitely right or definitely wrong, because I would like to know uh, in one direction or the other. When people are doing things like psilocybin, the part of the brain that quiets is the prefrontal cortex or the human brain, right? So whatever the other parts of the brain are that fall under the category of the human brain. And so again, nobody said this outright, but my theory is, well, if the human part of the brain is what quiets whenever we are on psychedelics, then that says to me, well, animals aren't saddled with the human brain, so they probably are perceiving reality much more similarly to what we perceive it to be whenever we're on psychedelics. So we see a lot of things that normally, again, we're closed-minded, closed awareness to, because of the human part of the brain. And then, side note, what I found to be interesting is they said that on things like cocaine, that those strictly human parts are very activated. And again, I don't have any experience with cocaine. I've never done it. I've never seen anybody on it. But, if you think about the 1980s, this is like the era of cocaine. This is the era of greed, right? This is like Wall Street and all of this stuff. This is Reagan, like all of this stuff starting to happen. And so, again, only a theory on my part. Does that mean that because that's more activating to the strictly human part of the brain, that's why it went in such a me direction of greed, as opposed to feeling much more connected to all things? So I assume that animals feel much more connected to all things. And so I always just assume that everybody has, whether it's an interdimensional being or an animal or an elf or Bigfoot, I just assume that they've got a lot greater, more expansive awareness than we do. But I could be totally wrong.
It's from my perspective, I think we're so limited based on the other beings that exist. But I'm also thinking of the fact that there's probably beings that are 2D beings that can't perceive us. But we're so closed minded and limited, we can't even perceive them as 2D beings.
God, now you're tripping me out. Like, oh my God, this is so weird, but what if, like, we're like a God figure, a creator figure, and if we draw a stick figure, and then suddenly it has a consciousness and awareness, and we're all like, stick figure, and it's like, mommy, and then you like crumple it up and throw it in the trash. I promise I'm not on drugs right now, but I imagine it's probably a very drug-fueled type thought.
Wow,
I mean,
I wonder.
hold on, let's take this further. What if that's why whenever people draw an insect on a sheet of paper, that the cat is like, because it can sense. I'm not going to sleep well tonight. Like all those stick figures I threw in the trash, murder.
But is it alive though? Have you created does that make you a creator of life that's just being wasted?
I don't know. I can't overthink this because I feel like A, I already have overthought it, but B, I don't know. And like now I'm feeling weird about the
The next
notion
time
that
I
maybe
know
there's something to it.
the next time I know someone that's going to go do plant medicine, I'm going to ask them to take a piece of paper and draw a stick figure and let me know what happens.
I feel like you're setting them up for a really weird trip.
And if I ever do it, or when I do it, I'm going to try to remember to do that because I'm curious. Because there's probably something to that, actually. We're
I know,
talking
that's why
about
I feel
things that
so
are
weird
totally.
about it. Well,
Look,
because
we've
everything
all
is
drawn stick
perspective.
figures.
Yeah, and everything is perspective. And I remember somebody saying once that if you have a dog who has puppies and they have puppies, and so like you're there, like as a human, let's pretend that the first dog that you have who has the puppies, like maybe you're a 10-year-old during that first generation, and then you become like around 20 whenever the second generation, and 30, and so on and so forth. And so in that dog's family and lineage, like let's say that you're 7 generations deep for this dog family and you're 70 years old at this point, and like this new puppy is being told from his mom, like, this is our guardian, like he's been with us for 7 generations. And you know what I mean? Like that tripped me out a little bit in a good way, where I feel like there's a lot of truth to that, where like this family of dogs says like, hey, this is like our guardian who takes care of us for like, so many ancestors deep. Like that's really neat.
Could they be saying that we're gods?
Oh, I don't know about that.
They live
But
forever.
I did trip myself up with like that stick figure thing where like because the creation energy is there. And then also, I mean, we know that some souls are creators, right? Like I was part of the team that helped create the Big Island, which is interesting because you would think that would be my favorite island. It's not. But I was there to help create that. And I don't know if I would even remember having seen that or even really think that it might be valid, except for somebody like that same day or week or right around that same time said that they saw me like on a soul level helping to create Hawaii. I was just like, okay, okay, maybe that's real then. Yeah, so like some of us are creators, and it's like, well, where do we, oh man, pun intended, where do we draw the line? Oh my God, that was so good. I feel like that should be submitted to some contest. That was really good.
That was perfect.
So, creator of dad jokes. Yeah. So yeah, there is something to like, and what's funny is that Charles, the husband, Charles has always been so hyper emotional and aware about the feelings of inanimate objects. Where when I first met him, I would actually poke fun at him. Well, so there's this story from when he was 6 years old and his mom was cooking and she, put a pat of butter in the frying pan and it started to melt. And 6-year-old Charles started crying over sadness for like the butter melting and what it was going through. And everybody made fun of him, of course, and his family. And then he didn't stop crying. I mean, well, like he didn't cry every day until he was 13, but basically he cried a lot until he was 13 and then just decided like, I'm too old for this and I cannot do this anymore and just like stuffed it down. And he did things like why am I using past tense? He is still like this, where like he'll see a lost sock, like how babies just lose socks and whatever all the time, and like he'll think about like how those two things have been separated and actually feels bad about it. And so I used to be like, oh my God, what a wiener! Like this is so over the top. But then I started to become more spiritual, and I'm like, oh shit, like there might be something to like what he's tapping into and feeling. Like, I don't know that you have to feel it. Like, I don't, again, there are emotions that have a purpose. And then there are emotions where it's like, does that have any utility? I don't think so. Like, you might need to like let this go. But yeah, I think he might be tapping into something that's actually real as far as like these inanimate objects and having emotions and having consciousness.
Actually, something that you're mentioning, the butter and the melting butter and what he experienced. He doesn't necessarily acknowledge it, but he's very sensitive to things.
Yeah.
If you think about it, just a tablespoon of butter that you put in a pan and start melting it, you're killing billions of microorganisms that are alive in that butter.
I'll not be bringing
So
that up to him.
why not?
It's already an uphill battle. Yeah. Yeah.
But realistically, this is actually opening up a perspective in my mind of we take basically ignore so many microorganisms and they're all over the place. When you're cooking food, you're killing microorganisms.
Yeah.
Uh,
Again, a perspective shift. Like we're the giant that just goes in and is like, rah, and we destroy things. Yeah.
I, I never thought about that.
Okay, so let's take this a step further in a very interesting way. So my friend Iman, she is extremely aware of nutrition. Like it's her thing. Like it is her purpose. Like her nutrition journey started when she was in her late 20s and she wanted to get pregnant. And she's almost exactly my age. So she's going to be 46 in a couple of weeks. So this is about two decades ago. She wanted to get pregnant. She wasn't getting pregnant. And she's like, only in her like mid to late 20s. Like she's really, really young. It's not making sense that she's not getting pregnant. She starts to research it, like what could possibly be going on. And of course is doing like all the usual fertility tests and all of that. And then she narrowed it down to, I think it's actually related to my diet. And so she changed her diet and she was pregnant within a year after like not being pregnant within a year. I think it was like within like 8-9 months that she was pregnant. So pretty fast turnaround time. So ever since then, like she realizes how much diet deeply impacts people. And you talking about like the little bugs and the microorganisms and all of that. She said that she has this weird craving for fruit, even though it makes her feel bad. Like her body doesn't process it very well, but it's almost like this insatiable hunger for fruit. And I was like, so what do you think is going on there? Like, why would your body crave a thing that it actually makes it feel bad? And she goes, I think that it is the gut biome, the microorganisms that live off of that. I think they're craving it. And they send the cravings to my brain. And it's because they actually want to eat it. And I'm like, oh, I bet she's right. I
That
bet
makes sense.
they talk about like there's a whole other brain in your gut, and like so I think that like she has to fight I don't think she thinks it, and I believe her. She has to fight the cravings of these things that she is actively trying to starve out. Like she is actively trying to kill those things because she knows that she doesn't process fruit very well. She doesn't want to deal with the cravings. So she is trying to starve them out. And they are fighting, they're really fighting for their lives and like sending these like very strong cravings to her brain to try to live.
I mean, I do feel they are conscious and they don't care. All right, I'll put it like this: from their perspective, they need what's going to allow them to live,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and
Oh,
there
go
is a
ahead.
connection there. So it
Yeah.
makes
And
sense.
for people who are like, oh, that's hippy dippy. No, like it's actually not even hippy dippy. It's very logical. Like people who understand the gut biome, they'll even say, and these are scientists, researchers, peer-reviewed studies. Like this is very sound science. She's just the person who put the words to like, I think they're trying to live because I know I'm trying to starve them out and kill them, and they're fighting for their lives through these cravings. So it's like, I she put the sentence together. I'm like, I believe that she's right. But people who understand gut biome, they'll say that every single week you should be trying to eat, I think it's around 30 different types of plant-based foods. And the reason that you're supposed to have such a wide diversity is because all of these different gut biome microbes, they thrive off of something different. So some of them are going to thrive off of broccoli. Some of them are going to thrive off of cucumber. Some of them are going to thrive off of, I don't know, black beans. And so that's why the diversity is really, really essential, because you can't have and just be like eating salads all day every day and be like, I'm so healthy. Yeah, you're healthy as far as like feeding this certain specific type of gut microbe, but like all the others are getting starved out. So like what she's saying is actually very sound science. It's just she's putting a word to the like, and they're fighting for their, or a sentence to that they're fighting for their lives via the cravings, which is really neat.
That's a very interesting thought. And I've never heard the thing of eating 30 different vegetables. I have to start looking into that because I think that will make a difference, and that makes sense to cover everything.
You can look into
Um,
it if you want to, as far as like verifying that it's accurate, but it's accurate. You might as well just look into like figuring out which 30
well, I'm
vegetables.
saying,
Like.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's
Because
actually, yeah, it's a little bit tough. Like as far as like I'm vegetarian, and I counted up one week just to see. I was like, man, I'm deep in the 20s. Like I'm above 25, but like you really have to make a conscious effort to get into 30.
yeah, well, the thing is, you have to if you're getting fresh produce, how do you balance that out for such a variety and not have things go bad?
Well, one thing that I realized is that you can have a different type of legumes. So one legume is not just one legume, or I'm sorry, multiple legumes is not qualifying as just one legume. So maybe you've got a white bean and a black bean and a lentil and you know what I mean? So you can diversify in terms of that you would get a bag of multicolor mixed lentils or, and then what you can also do, I like to, like whenever I'm making a dish, like I'll put quinoa and then I'll also put in chia seeds and I might also put in hemp seeds and I might also, you know what I mean? So like it seems like it's one thing, but I actually intentionally have tossed in a few different things just to create that diversity where on the palate, like you can't really taste a difference, but technically you've got a wider variety of things in there. And then also you can buy like there are frozen vegetables at Costco where it's mixed vegetables. So like just you open the bag and automatically you've got like 8 different vegetables that you're working with rather than having to buy all 8 of those things. So just, you know, little things like that can help.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to find some some mixed vegetables and eat more of them. I,
Yeah, it's very
that's
easy to.
such
It's
an
like it's
interesting
very
concept.
because they're frozen, so like very economical. Last for a long time. Retain and peas in particular. Uh, Unless you're going straight from the garden, like a frozen pea is actually better for you than a pea that you're getting at the store. Again, a garden
True.
pea, best pea, but frozen pea, better pea than fresh pea at a store.
That and that's true, but for some strange reason, a lot of times I'll still get fresh, and in getting the fresh, sometimes the things in the freezer get ignored,
Oh,
and then it's
understandable.
months later, and it's months later, and I go to open a bag of what's in the freezer, and it's freezer burn. I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm going to eat this now.
It's so funny. Yeah, yeah. I don't want to do a round two of course Courtney eats at Costco because I'm tempted. But yeah, you know how I said I just shop once per month, but I strategically pace it so that I eat the things that go bad first. And then eventually all that's left, like I'm in the potatoes and frozen vegetables phase right now. Like I can't ignore it because there's nothing else to eat.
Okay.
It's all strategy, man.
Okay. So let's come back to this concept we're talking about with souls. Do you feel that all of those microorganisms within the body have a soul, and is it a, collective soul or individual souls?
Man, great question. Okay, so I think, and this is why I've circled around to like making fun of Charles being like, oh shit, I think he's right. I think that probably everything has consciousness and soul because souls want to experience everything, right? So there is a soul that is like, I haven't been a sticky note before. There's a soul that's pencil lead. I haven't been pencil lead before. There's a soul that's like, I haven't been whatever this rubber cord wire thing is before. So I think that there is soul energy in everything. And it's interesting, probably a lot of people listening do stuff like this where like I'll slam a door by accident. Like let's say multiple windows are open in the house and so there's a stronger airflow and I'll slam a door by accident and I'll apologize to like the door and the door frame. Just like knee jerk apology. Like I'm not thinking about it. I'll just be like, "Oh, sorry." Like I am apologizing to the inanimate object and I 100% mean it. Like so I feel like there's also an understanding in those of us who behave that way, that like there probably is something there that got jarred and we're like, oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Or like I'll even, and it's not all kindness either. Like I'll have something like, like a rock on a hike or like a little tree nub on a hike will trip me and it seems to come out of nowhere. And like I'll look at him like, come on. Like that was unnecessary. And and it's just again knee-jerk instinct where I really feel like that's a real thing that was like, haha, and I'm like, come on, I just keep walking. I'm like, I'm glad nobody else is on this trail because I am 100% talking to this rock right now, and I mean it. So yeah, I definitely think, or okay, laptops. Let's do laptops real quick. This one right here that I'm looking at. Um, a couple of years ago, I was following somebody's directions to wire a bunch of stuff together to create like that version of a studio, right? And so this is, real amateur hour, big time. But I'm trying to do it, right? And so I turn it on, and it's all like everything is connected, including the laptop, and it seemingly like fries the laptop. And the person who was telling me to do all of this is like a tech expert. And then I was like, oh shit, like this just happened. And he was like, oh, I think your laptop might be dead. And I was like, no, we are not RIPing this laptop. I said, we're giving it a rest. And so I closed it and I hugged it and I was like, if you need a rest, like if you need a recovery, like just go ahead and recover and I will leave you alone until tomorrow and just take your time. Right. And so I just left it. I kept my promises. I did a bunch of other stuff, had nothing to do with laptops for the whole rest of the day into the next morning, and then did a prayer. I was like, okay, come on. And then opened it and it worked just fine. He was like, holy shit, I can't believe it still works. I'm like, yeah. And by the way, thanks for all the shitty advice telling me to like put all that stuff together. So people are very cavalier with their advice as long as it's not their device. But
Of course.
yeah. So anyway, but yeah, like and it did seem dead as disco like before I did all of that, where I was like touching all the things and like doing all this stuff to try to get it to recover, nothing. And then I just left it alone for several hours and then opened it and it was fine. I'm like, whew, all right.
So in that instance, we coming back to that same soul question: is there multiple souls or collective souls within a laptop? And when that happens,
Probably,
have
yeah.
those other souls left and been replaced by walk-in souls?
Jeez.
Well,
Okay. Yeah, it's probably multiple souls, and I do think that they function together just like our cells function together. And like, does that mean that our cells also have different soul properties? Probably. I mean, there's something happening. Like whenever, like, I don't know, that's just a human that's like getting a rash or what, like maybe the rash itself, maybe the skin has its own properties. Like it feels like it's something in addition to you. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel like
mhm.
it's just you and there's some flare up within you. It feels like something else a lot of the time. Yeah, just like I think that my body has its own consciousness, and so I will talk to it very kindly, and I'll be like, "I love you, body." And like to a sane person, they would go, "Why is she saying she loves herself, but to her body, like it's something different?" Because I actually do think that it is something different. Like I think that the mind consciousness and the heart consciousness. That's why we do with the energy center. Or I just said the Joe Dispenza version, the wisdom centers. We do the
Mhm.
wisdom centers with the different parts of the what looks to be one body. But as soon as you do a wisdom center exercise, you realize that they all have very different, strongly held opinions. That sometimes they'll overlap with each other, but oftentimes they're actually very different opinions, and you can feel the energy difference of them. So that makes me think that there is consciousness for sure. I don't know about soul. And then it's like, well, what's the difference, right? I don't know. Like, I don't know that my gut has its own soul. It could, but it feels more like a
I-
consciousness. And like, what,
It
yeah, how do you discern the
it
difference?
seems like it seems to me it'll be more of a collective thing within certain parts of the body.
Collective what?
As far as collective souls are
Mm-hmm.
basically the individual components within the body that have a soul. There's one soul that's not. Using me as an example, there's one soul that's not Aaron that is making up certain components within the body. So maybe your blood has one soul, your your heart may have one soul, or
Mm-hmm.
your circulatory system may be one soul, your digestive system may be one soul, or your individual um, organs may be of individual souls. Because even those souls are made up of smaller components And also, some of them are made up of, again, microorganisms. And then there's crystals in your body as well.
I don't know why I object to the word soul. It just feels like soul's a little bit different than consciousness, but I don't really know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like who can really know what they're talking about related to this, but I just mean it's nothing that I've ever really sat down and thought about and gotten answers about. Like I don't feel confident. And what I do feel confident actually in what I'm saying. I just don't have any details to know why. Yeah, I don't know.
So, but based on what you're saying, if I'm understanding you correctly, this paperclip doesn't have a soul, doesn't have consciousness.
If a soul has decided that it wants to be in the paperclip, that's the other weird thing. Like maybe it doesn't if a
Okay.
soul, like no soul has decided to like pop into that. Like can things just be things? I don't know. Because if it's all really just empty space, right? You know, the whole like 99.9% of what everything is empty space. So then why would that empty space really be any different than this empty space?
So I guess it could come back to souls can come and go in this.
Did I ever
As
say one time? Mm-hmm.
and the same thing could potentially happen within the body.
I
That
was about to mention
maybe a
that.
soul would want to experience being human, but from a different aspect.
What would the aspect be? You mean the heart
A
versus the
smaller,
gut versus the microbe?
a component of the universe. The human body is an entire galaxy.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
think about it, for everything that's going on.
Yeah. So a soul could come in and go, I want to be an eyelash today. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. I'm just saying, just in terms of what is animating the person, it's probably one soul primarily that gets to be in charge of that. I'm not sure. I think,
So,
well, I think it's one. Otherwise, it would be really, really chaotic, like really chaotic.
so that would create a hierarchy.
There probably is some sort of hierarchy because I think there would just be so much chaos, like just in terms of like you've done the wisdom centers, so you know that
Mhm.
if all of those different parts of you had an equal voice at all times, and one of them wants to eat sushi, but the other one wants to eat pasta, and the other one wants to eat a hamburger, like where do you go for dinner? Like you got to have one that at least for that decision takes over. Now you could at some point go, all right, Gut hasn't gotten to pick dinner in a while. It's Gut's turn. But yeah, I think that just like in terms of livability and sanity, you probably need to have one that's in charge. But yeah, you could have, I imagine you could have a soul pop in. So, and then there's a whole conversation about organ transplants where a person, um, there are plenty of stories like this, verifiable, where let's say that the kid that passed really, really loved McDonald's French fries. Like there's a story that's really similar to this. You probably heard it. And then like the lady who gets the organ is a professional dancer and would never eat McDonald's French fries. It's not happening, right? But then gets a liver transplant or whatever. And then suddenly is craving French fries and like tracks down the family. And then sure enough, this is this kid's favorite food. And so it's like, okay, well, what's that? Right? Like there's a consciousness, there's a memory, there's craving, there's desire. Yeah. So
Would you get
again,
an organ transplant?
would I or did I?
No. Would you?
Would I? I've never really thought about it, but I would think so, unless there was some reason that I felt very against it. Why would you
It's,
not?
I, my opinion is out on that now because I don't. Now I look at the fact that you have someone else's spirit that's attached to
Could be an
that
awesome person,
organ.
though. Could be an upgrade.
but how do you vet that transplant before you get it?
I
If
mean, on
you
a soul
that
level,
transplant's coming from a horrible person,
on a soul level is
oh,
vetted.
okay, so you vet it on a soul level, and then when you tell your doctor, no, I don't want that one, they're going to kick you off the list if you're on a list because they're not going to want you to deny anything.
No, 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 no. What I mean is that it's vetted on a soul level, as in you would trust your soul and you would trust the universe that you would get the one you're supposed to get. Now, that could still be a wonky, crazy one, but it's still the one you're
Mhm.
supposed to get. Yeah. No, I don't think you tell the doctor anything because then the doctor's like, too crazy. No kidney for you. I
I,
don't think it
I,
works like that.
that's something honestly I'd have to think about it before even seriously considering it, and even
I just always assume
what
that
just
like everything that's supposed to happen happens. So yeah.
would you donate your organs?
Yeah, I'm a donor.
Because you're
And
a
which would be
donor.
really funny
I
if like some atheist ended up getting my organs and be like, oh fuck me. Like I believe in fairies. Why do I believe in
it's
fairies?
but I wonder, is it good for your is it does it make a difference for your spirit for you to donate your organs and that organ lives on in someone else? Because that is, we just said, that's part of you living on. How does that impact what remains of you that transitions?
I don't think it makes a difference. I think it's fine. I don't think it keeps part of you held back. I think it probably allows part of you to keep partying. There's some little kidney out there that's like, yes, more McDonald's French fries. And I don't think that's held that soul back at all. So I do wonder about okay, let's talk intimacy. What about like intimacy and people having intimate relations and then like the commingling of that energy, right? So there's that as well, which is a very real thing. And then
Yes.
how long does that what's the half-life on that interaction or interactions, especially if there were several over the course of time? Like so and a lot of people don't bother to
But
vet those.
and that's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
But in those instances, when it comes to intimacy, unless you become pregnant, that's not something that's going to stay within your body for the rest of your life. If you get a lung transplant, that lung is going to be your lung and working within your body with everything that came with it, not just the physical lung, but everything, the energy that comes with that lung impacts you, and it's not going anywhere
Mhm.
unless you're able to cleanse after it's completed. I guess it's feasible to cleanse it and basically wipe out anything that's there. Yeah, it makes sense to be able to cleanse and wipe out anything that's there. The people that run into a problem will be the ones that don't do anything to cleanse it, which is most people.
Yeah, most people don't even know that there would be an issue. Well, okay, and then like again, let's take this to like a more practical level that more people can relate to because not that many people have organ transplants. But let's say there have been intimate relations with somebody and like the relationship's over and you're like, then maybe there's an energy cleanse for that.
Yes.
This is your territory. So yeah, what do
And
you have to say about that?
it's, well, uh, in my opinion, whenever there's well, first, I think you should be cautious and careful with who you sleep with
Well,
and who
yes.
you connect with
I would
because,
say even touch. I would say even like
yeah,
spend time with.
I,
Yeah.
even touching, but just as far as the intimacy, I think you pick up so much. And especially, and I hope this doesn't sound wrong, but especially for a woman and unprotected sex,
Mhm.
because that's something being left within your
Yeah,
person.
that protein is just straight up in there. I'm like that because you were talking about pregnancy. I'm like, well, like there's also like there's a whole protein that I don't know. I don't know. I think it's something to think about. When the boyfriend and I were in that like long protracted breakup that went on for like a month and a half, as far as like breakup to him moving out, and we were in Costco one day, like getting stuff for his new place, and like I'm a very affectionate person, and like I went to hold his hand, and it was I don't remember if it was my left or right hand. Either way, like I went to hold his hand and I felt like really sick. Like very, you know how you feel like if you got the flu, like that very like acute like ache, sick feeling. And I felt it as soon as like I held his hand and then tried to like discreetly, nonchalantly like go in another direction to point at something to like be able to let go of his hand. It was that uncomfortable. I was like, I don't want to feel this. And then I looked up later like what that could have been. And apparently the hands are like very, very connected to the heart chakra. And so, and remember, he didn't want to break up and he was really sad about the whole thing. But like trying to be nice, stiff upper lip, like, get along well for like the final remaining, days and weeks. And like I think I like tapped into for a moment like how badly he was
Yeah,
feeling.
you
It
did.
was awful in there. It was really sad actually. Like really, really like almost physically painful, but much more like spiritually, emotionally, like very painful. So, and then, another interesting thing that happened, like as far as energies and lingering, we had two different desks, and he was helping me on a project one time and working on the project, even though I had been such a jerk to him the day before. This is like almost a year ago, so well before the breakup. And so again, nice guy where like he was still helping me and working on this project on his computer, sitting in this chair, like so mad at me, but just sitting quietly, like trying to work on it to help me. Then he went to work. There was still some work to be done on the project. So I sat down in his seat. He was gone, but I sat down
Hmm.
in the seat that he had been in for a few hours. And again, he had been trying to hide like how mad he was at me and how bad he was feeling about me being a jerk the day before. So he didn't say anything about it. But then when he came back, I was like, hey, like, it's okay if the answer is yes. But like, while you were sitting there working on that project, did you like kind of hate me like pretty badly? And he was like, yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, I felt that when I sat in the seat. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I was like, oh my God, like he hates me so much right now. I can actually feel like the hate that's like just like still sitting in the seat. It was really strange.
I don't find
Yeah.
that surprising at all.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's not like I'm popping in. Like, we sit on airplanes and we don't tend to feel, I
But
don't know.
think about it. Before you sit down on a piece of furniture, especially a bus seat or airplane seat, train seat, you should do a cleanse just briefly. And it doesn't have to be where you're burning sage. You can't do anything like that. But just a cleanse of, physically of yourself, and the fact that you're going to be contacting space that's been contacted by who knows how many people before you within a certain number of hours. What energy are you picking up? So it's
Okay.
something that.
So I'm just going to say really quickly to everybody who's like me and wants to be practical, because that means that we're just like, we're not even living life anymore. We're just cleaning shit all the time because shit's everywhere, right? So I think that goes back to why the universe tells us over and over again why it's so important that upon waking, to protect our energy, and then as we're falling asleep to
Mhm.
like cleanse and protect. So anybody who's like, holy shit, like Aaron's gonna have us like with Swippers, like just when you wake up in the morning, call in protection. When you're going to bed in the evening, like cleanse and call in protection. It doesn't have to be a long protracted thing. It's just the intention of saying like, okay, it's time to do this. Just like making your bed doesn't have to be like a long protracted thing. It can just be like, okay, it's made, it's done, good, we're good to go. Yeah.
Yes. And just one other thing too. There are some people that will not shake someone's hand, and there are some people that will not hug a person because they don't want to have that energy exchange at all. And honestly, there's some people that I know and know very well that I will not shake their hand because of who they are.
Because the ick.
So yeah, I don't, and I mean, I'm clairsentient. I don't like the feeling, and in the cases that I'm talking about, these are pretty vile people, are people that are involved in things that I don't necessarily agree with as far as the things that they do or how they live. So
Are these family
it
members? Is
fits
that
the
why you have to spend time with people that you know so well and don't care for?
well, the main time when you're going to encounter this is going to be family members.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say.
look, that there's definitely family members. I'm one of those people. I don't think that you should ever, ever, ever push your child to hug somebody that they do not want to hug. I hate seeing that. I absolutely hate seeing that. And I know as a child, I was told, go give so and so a hug. And I remember that long walk over to hug that person and just feeling so horrible giving them a hug. So, yes, it happens in family situations, but I mean, it also happens in business situations. Um,
Wait, J Manuel is asking. So he says, does that mean that you would not shake his hand? And is it just like J Manuel obviously has like a really nice energy. So because he's nice, you probably would shake his hand. But what if he
no,
had like a stinky day? Like what if he had like he stubbed his toe and he was in a stinky mood? Like what would you do?
no, well, I don't base it on that. I base it on what I feel with their energy. So I can feel someone's energy, and when I feel their energy, if I know their energy is bad,
Mm-hmm.
or I know they're carrying something from some of the dirty things that they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
I'll know, and I set in my mind, I have a boundary. Sorry, I don't shake hands, and hopefully it's not an issue. I've had people be offended, but that's not my problem. That's the what is take nothing personally. I don't take it personally, and I can't worry about what that person's thinking because I have to put myself first. So it happens. But someone like Jay Manuel, I, I would shake your hand. I would give you a hug.
Yeah. Well, and also because I come from the teaching world, you also start to become aware that even people who maybe do like your energy, they just don't like hugging. And so I started to ask kids, I'm like, do you want a hug, a high five, or a handshake? And so it's cute because they all start with H. So like a hug, a high five, a handshake, and then they'll pick. And so, but they're
You
kids.
did that back then?
I'm I was teaching in Northern Virginia. This is outside of DC, so a lot of politically correct things hit that area fast. Like it maybe still hasn't hit Appalachia where I grew up. Like, probably still making
Well,
kids do whatever.
I was thinking in terms of today. You see the things where the teachers are greeting the kids as they're coming in, and they can do the dance or high five or some other little cute activity before the kid goes in the room.
I
And
mean, I
that's what
didn't
you're
do
making
that.
me think of.
It is really cute what they do, but no, I didn't do that. It wasn't like a daily ritual or anything like that. It would be more like, let's say that the kid did something really good, or let's say I ran into them in public, and so it'd be like an extra special like greeting, that type of thing. So just something that was more
Okay.
outside of the ordinary. And then so J Manuel says, so you're that good at tuning into people's energies, and that's a good gift, but he also thinks that it's a curse too. Well, yeah. So, Aaron, speak to that because you've
It,
lived that life.
it's all a matter of protection. And I've talked before, going into certain environments, I have to prepare to go into an environment where there's going to be a lot of people to protect my energy from the chaotic energy that may be around. So at this point, I'm pretty good at putting myself in a bubble of protection
Mhm.
and making sure that my energy is not mixing with others. If I think I'm going to have a problem in an environment that I go into, I'll take crystals with me just to help have that protection. So over time, I've learned, and I come from a background where I was constantly in environments, and I would get sick being in an environment, and I never knew why. And I've worked in retail, I've worked in restaurants, and these are chaotic type environments. Christmas time in a restaurant, Christmas time in a retail operation, those were some of the most chaotic times for me as a person because I was affected by all that energy. And sadly, when I was doing those things, I had no understanding of this. So basically, I suffered through, and a lot of days I would come home from work with just a massive headache just from being in those environments. So it's something you have to have a practice to to get beyond that and not have those things impact you when you
Mhm.
go into those environments. Yes, uh, yes, energy
All of
can
the
be
above.
transferred.
Yeah.
Uh, firm yes,
Yeah.
and
Well, yeah, and like the story that I was saying where I sat in the seat that the ex-boyfriend had been sitting in, and he wasn't even in the house anymore. So he was not there at all, but his energy was just so strong in that seat. Um, yeah.
and the just the science behind what Courtney's talking about is the aura. The aura is outside of the body, so the aura is impacted by whatever emotions are going on in that person. So if that person's aura is surrounding the chair, it's going to put all that energy into the chair
Mhm.
and it's going to impact you. And the same thing goes for just running into a person. If let's say you're on that plane and the person in front of you has the worst energy, if you're not protecting yourself, you're going to feel that energy because their aura is coming back beyond the back of that chair. And
Mhm.
if they get up, it still remains. It doesn't dissipate just because that person's left.
I want to put a plug in for being mindful of one's own energy every now and then. It's funny because you and I are very sensitive in different ways. Like I'm wondering if you do the thing that I'm about to mention because I don't think I'm as energy sensitive as you are. I think that it takes a really strong energy for me to like or something that my team is like, shit, we need to tell her because she's not going to pick it up if we don't tell her. Um, but um I think that we also need to be more mindful of protecting ourselves from our own energy. And what I mean by that is that sometimes I'll be out in nature and I'm doing a hike and the hike is great and the nature is great and the vibe is great. And then I'll have a bad thought. Like I'll have a thought that makes me angry or a thought that makes me scared or a thought that you know what I mean. And it's unnecessary. Again, it's not a productive thought. It's me having a fight with somebody that I haven't talked to in 5 years, like that kind of dumb shit. Right. And so, like, I'll catch it, but the cortisol is real. Right. Like, as soon as like it kicks in, like you've infected yourself with at least a little bit of cortisol for a time period. And so, I'm curious, Erin, if you have a practice where you will cleanse yourself kind of yourself, but it's like of a thought or of a hormone chemical that you've released based on having that strong emotion. And so I'll do like I have a little like a little hand wave exhale where I'm like
Yeah, that's
like, yeah, what do
that's
you
one
do?
method. Breath
Yeah.
work. Um, Sometimes it's just a matter of consciously thinking about removing that energy from that thought that comes in.
Mhm.
Because no matter what, unfortunately, there's going to be times where you'll have those thoughts that will come in. It's okay for those thoughts and things to come in, it's natural. It's part of being human, but you just don't allow them to stay. As
Right.
long as you're allowing them to come in, let it go. Be mindful of the moment that you're in, because if you're thinking about something like that, then you're definitely not being mindful.
Mm.
And the you have that wavelength of how of your frequency. So that's something that can cause that dip. But as long as you have that dip and you push it out, it comes back up. So it's just you have to be conscious of where you remain,
Yeah, and
and a lot of
mhm.
people aren't.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes people are too hard on themselves. So for example, years ago, I was like, "Oh, I'm so magical and I'm special and I don't need to take any medicines ever." And then I had a headache that like I honestly I know this sounds really dramatic, but I need my sleep and I had had the headache from and it was a dehydration headache. And I have since learned if I have a dehydration headache, just take the Advil. Like you are not supposed to suffer on that level just to like not take an Advil. Um, and so I was being all holier than thou. I'm not going to take this Advil. I'm a special unicorn. I can do it. And no, I was up. It was like 2, 3 in the morning. I was sitting lotus style and I'm just suffering. And dehydration headache for me feels even worse if you lie down. So like there was no chance of sleep due to the pain, but then the pain became excruciating. Like if I tried to even rest my body, and so I'm having to sit up, and it's just torturous. And this is all over me thinking that I don't need to take one Advil. Um, and then eventually I was just like, whatever spiritual nonsense this is that I'm putting myself through, like it needs to end. Just take the pill. And so the reason that I say that is because sometimes I'm really against electronics in the woods. Like if you're in the woods, you're in a sacred place. Like you are about to have like the most amazing energy. It's cleansing in itself. Like you're in a purifying place. And so, but then, and this is why I bring up the Advil, because like sometimes you just need to listen to the podcast. Where like I'll have my earbuds, and I know a lot of people like earbuds, whatever. If we're magical, then it's fine. So I have the earbuds in my pocket. And 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to use them. Probably 9.5 times out of 10, I'm not going to use them. But every now and then I'll be on a long hike and there is just this like cyclical negative thought or negative person that I am conjuring up in my head that there's again no reason for it other than apparently I just want to battle that day. And I'm like, no, like, and I'm not winning the battle. Like I'm trying to release it. It's coming back. I'm trying to release it. It's coming back. So a hack that I think just like if you have the dehydration headache, guys, just take the Advil. It's okay. You're still going to go to spiritual nirvana. You're fine. But like sometimes you just need to listen to the podcast or the whatever. And so I was in one of those spirals a couple weeks ago and I was like, okay, what do I have downloaded on my phone? Because of course I have no cell phone reception. I'm like, what do I have downloaded on YouTube that is good energy? And so I listened to The Power of Now, which is funny as far as like the battle I was waging. And I'm like, I got no now skills right now. My now skills are shit. so, so I listened to that book on tape. It was a book on tape. And it really, really helped. Like that battle that I was fighting was gone. And I was back into a peaceful, good place. I was like, oh, like I'm so anti technology in the woods, but like this technology in the woods really saved my time in the woods. So, and I imagine that the trees would have been okay with that too, because I'm sure the trees were like, damn, this girl is just stinking up the joint with like this fake fight she's having in her head. But now, like, okay, like, all right, at least like we've got some Eckhart energy in here. Okay, this is much more peaceful. So that can be an easy way, like if you're not winning the battle, to just be like, okay, the battle just needs to not be fought anymore.
And a lot of people do look at things like that and say that you shouldn't do the people that are too woo woo. And there's things that sometimes you need that are outside of what people consider to be woo woo. There's some of us that refuse to go to a doctor under any circumstances. There's some people that refuse to get surgery under any circumstances. Sometimes you may actually need surgery.
Hmm.
Sometimes you may be able to heal yourself, but if you have a broken bone, that bone's going to have to be set. I don't think you can, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you can necessarily go through a hypnosis session and have that healed immediately. You can go through a hypnosis session and have it heal, but it's going to take longer than it will to go to a doctor and get it set. And then you can
Okay.
use the hypnosis session afterwards. I'm saying just as far as a broken bone, if you
It
got a
depends.
broken bone,
Remember, Lisa broke her back in 4 places and we fixed her. This is a broken bone. Now it's not a forearm or a femur or whatever, but this is my answer. It depends. I think it depends on the person. I think it depends on what their soul level lesson is supposed to be for that. And Lisa's, and I think she's going to come on and talk about this at a certain point. I was like, Lisa, I'm inviting you one time because I just want you to know it's an open invitation. I'm
I
not going
hope
to
she
keep
comes
bringing
on
it
to
up.
talk about it.
I think
I
she
want her
will.
to come on and talk about it.
She's getting closer. Like because I told her, I was like, I'm never bringing this up again because I don't want you to feel any pressure. But the invitation is extended. And maybe 2 weeks ago, she was like, starting to think about it. I'm like, good. Invitation's always open. So I think she's going to come on. But Lisa's lesson, and she's okay with me talking about this, Lisa's lesson wasn't about the broken bone. Lisa's lesson was about her realizing how powerful she is. Because remember, her battle is the doubt. And like her battle's not health, her battle is the doubt. Um, and so, very firmly, her team was like, we need you to experience something so acute, so severe that if you can fix yourself from this, like you cannot doubt yourself anymore. And we fixed the shit out of her. Like she is so fast, so good, so quick, so like miraculous, right? And the doctors were saying you have to have surgery, you have to do this, you have to do that. And I was like, oh no, girl. Like, I think we're supposed to address this doubt. Like, let's do it. And so we did. And she healed herself in like 6 weeks. And it was supposed to be a surgery and 3 months. And she's like out now, like walking around like nothing happened. It's
So she didn't have
amazing.
any type of work done to help set everything in order.
It's just hypnosis and like
Massage,
the, huh?
massage, or
Not that I know of. She
no?
maybe did some acupuncture, I think, but normally she doesn't respond well to acupuncture. I think she just tried it as part of like throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what would help. But it was mainly hypnosis and Joe Dispenza meditations. She did those two things. Like we created,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
we made a plan. Like as soon as that happened, she told me, and I was like, and she was like, at first when it happened, she felt fine. And then it went downhill really quickly. And I was like, we're going to create a boot camp for you. Like we're going to do, I think we set it at 2 weeks. And so I was like, what we're going to do is we're going to have a session every other day. And the days that we're not having sessions, do Dispenza. And I said, I'm going to do the same Dispenza recording at the same time. So we're doing it together. It's just you're in Virginia and I'm in Washington. And I was like, it's going to be the same time that we're having the sessions. It's just we're going to alternate days. And so, yeah, we just like went after it really hard and we're like, okay, let's just fix this. We know that you can fix it. And she just had like fairy central, like fairies like in there all the time, like doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that, and like really helping. But her lesson, again, it wasn't about that she's supposed to live with a broken bone. Her lesson is that she is supposed to finally, in her 70th year, because she's going to be 70 in just a couple of weeks, finally in her 70th year, she realizes how magical she is and she releases the doubt. Like that was the point of everything.
And
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I know.
That's
She's great.
that's absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
And I I love to hear the stories where someone's actually been able to fully heal themselves or heal themselves in a remarkable manner in comparison to how things would typically go.
Hmm.
So that's a great story. I hope she talks about it. I hope she writes about it
Yeah.
because it's definitely amazing. And The first time I ever really noticed a story just of that type, you familiar with Aaron Lyons?
Hmm.
Are you familiar with Aaron Lyons?
Mm-mm.
She's a quantum healer. Um, her husband was in an explosion. My battery.
This is okay
Can
now?
you hear me?
Your phone or your, yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. Her husband was in and he's a quantum healer also. Her husband was in an explosion, and he had severe burns all over his body,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think they expected him to live. And he basically set his mind and basically went through his process of healing. And through the power of his mind, he came back around within a very short period of time as far as healing and being able to leave the hospital a lot faster than he was expected versus the fact that they didn't think he was going to live.
Mm-hmm.
So those stories are amazing when someone is able to have that control and work in their body because everything comes from the mind. That's the bottom line. It's all from the mind and what's going on in the mind. And as long as the person is allowing the mind and allowing source to work, you can overcome anything. And I mean, I'm going to start thinking about how I'm going to get rid of this artificial hip that I have because I want it to go. I want bone.
Oh, interesting. Huh. Yeah, the phrase I was just thinking was very much quote mind over matter. And then for whatever reason, it made me think about one of my clients. He is a firefighter, EMT, like first responder, right? And he wrote a book. It's really well written. And in one of the chapters, he talks about that whenever you're in a first responder position, that sometimes you get to see things that are really miraculous, and like that something is going on a soul level, spirit realm level. Like there is something that is not physically based because you get to get exposed to things that an average person wouldn't get to see. And so he tells the story about that there was a young man, probably around like 19, 20, who was severely burned. Like this is one of those types of burns where like you are not going to survive this. Like you're going to be dead within, half an hour, 60 minutes. Because like there's just not enough of you left to be able to have any sort of recovery. And in those conditions where that person like didn't physically have the flesh structures to be able to speak, the person was speaking like without like the physical structures that you need to have to be able to do that. And it was like lucid and calm and pain free and like speaking for like a handful of the minutes, like as this person should not be able to do anything right now other than die. Talking, how were they able to make vocal sounds without vocal cords? Like how are you doing that? I
That's
don't know.
probably telepathy.
I don't know. I don't know. Not sure. That was not his read on the situation. It seemed like it was something more physical than telepathy. Um, I don't know, but there's something that goes on where there's such a like an extreme mind over matter capability. And again, it's because we're primarily empty space. So it's like, okay, well, there are miracles that can happen within the empty space and do sometimes. Aaron, what else do you want to talk
Definitely.
about before we hop off? I have to pee soon.
I think we're good for the night. This has
Okay,
been a really interesting conversation.
yep. And then as always, thank you, which is great because I really had nothing. I was like, Aaron, entirely all of the pressure is on you. I do not know what we're going to talk about today. And you did a great job. And then the final comment that J. Manuel wrote that we didn't read aloud earlier So he saw a movie with Bruce Willis that as soon as he touched the other person, he could see their deeds or misdeeds. And I don't know the name of it.
That's Unbreakable.
Oh, okay, okay. The new
Familiar.
Avengers, they have a character that's kind of like that, where he's able to see people's like deepest regrets whenever he touches them.
What's
Yeah.
that from? What?
Uh, there's a new Avengers that came out a couple months ago where there's a character that's able to do something like that, where he's able to, like, when he touches them, see their like their deepest regrets, like the things that they regret most from their life.
Okay, I'm not sure who that is. I haven't seen that one yet.
It's pretty good. They do a really good job with that one, with regard to mental health. I think that it was pretty well done, actually. Because, like mental health, like you could really make it cheesy or over the top, but like I think that they did I think they stuck the landing on that one. It's good.
Was that Captain America movie?
I mean, it's Marvel and it's Avengers. Are any of them Captain America in that? No, there's no Captain America in that one. You mean the most recent Captain America? That one was not great, unfortunately. This is not good. Do the Thunderbolts.
Talking
Do
about.
Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts. That's what I'm talking about. That one is good. New Captain America. No, I don't know why they're making stinkers. Like, who's in it? Even Harrison Ford. Like everybody in it. Like, how do you make Harrison Ford bad? They somehow made Harrison Ford like. And when I say bad, I don't mean evil. I mean just like talentless. How do you suck the talent out of Harrison Ford? Like it's just There's a young actor who managed to like fight through the garbage and do a good job. Young like Spanish looking guy. He was a real bright burner in that one. He did a great job, but otherwise like the stars, like the classic stars they did not do a great job. Don't know why.
I haven't seen that one yet, so I can't comment.
Yeah. See
But the character you're talking about is from Thunderbolts?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not familiar with all of those characters. I haven't seen that yet, and it keeps coming up. I have to watch that.
Thunderbolts?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. They did a good job.
I didn't know you were a comic book fan.
I'm a movie fan.
Okay, a movie fan.
And what's funny is, no, yeah, if it's good, it's good. Like I don't care. Like as long as it's good. What's funny is that Charles noticed that you can tell how much I like a movie based on what I refer to it as. So like if it's just a movie, then like it's okay. If I call it a film, now we're getting somewhere. Like we're talking some real artistic stuff. And then like, and if I go as far as say cinema, blah, like I'm really in a zone about it. But no, like I really, really like movies. I think that they're an art form that I have a lot of respect for when well done. I would really, really like for movies to get good again. Those are few and far between right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad movies today. I don't even watch a lot of movies. You know what? I did start watching The Last of Us. That's an amazing show.
Are you in season 1 or 2?
I'm sorry?
Are you in season 1 or 2?
Season 1.
What episode are you in?
I'm close to the end. Like I think
good.
episode 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely character driven, and it's not driven by the
zombies,
clickers, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And just the whole thought process of the theories in most zombie type movies, except for the things where it's coming from a virus that's truly causing the problem. It's feasible.
The origin story is pretty good in that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that whole concept, there's just one aspect that doesn't fly, but I just look past that. But the whole concept of the fact that mushrooms can actually do that, and we know that mushrooms do that in the animal kingdom, that's
they do that
amazing.
to ants all the time.
It's
a real weird thing. In season 2, when the two girls look at each other and they go, Snoqualmie, Snoqualmie, Snoqualmie. That is the pass that I go hiking in all the time. They're basically talking about going to Seattle And so they're pointing out an area on the map, and they say Snoqualmie, Snoqualmie, Snoqualmie. That's like, yeah, where I am.
But that's a great show.
Yeah.
It's much better. And one of the things I like about it, I love things that are character driven. I like I'm kind of tired of the zombie genre in certain aspects. And if it's a show that's not driven by what's going on with the characters,
Mm-hmm.
I don't continue to watch it. But this show, there's episodes where there's not even any of the people who've been taken over that even appear in the episode at all.
Yeah. Episode 3 of season 1, really, really good. That's why I asked. I was thinking, I was like, has he made it to 3? So good. The couple. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really awesome. But I was surprised at the fact that there's so many episodes that just were absolutely driven by what was going on with the people, and nothing with there was anything chasing anyone.
Yeah.
It was a matter of what's going on with the human interactions, which sometimes the human interaction is worse than the interaction from the beings.
Yeah. Just real quick, Jamie, I asked, when you say, oh, Did you see that? That was so funny. I was going to say, when you say smart books, do you mean audiobooks? And then like, as soon as I was about to say, when you say smart books, do you mean audiobooks? He goes, I mean smut. Okay, now that is so funny. Anybody who's new to this, they're romantasy. We can call them smut, but they're better than smut. Okay, so what are your smut? Are you going to release them one at a time, or are they all going to come out at once? So I've actually already released 2. And I'm working on the 3rd one right now. So 2 of them are actually out in the world. Lisa already has a copy of the first one. Like, she got a hard copy of it. And I was like, oh shit, like Lisa. And I was like, how did it turn out? Because I haven't ordered a hard copy. I haven't seen it in the flesh. I'm like, is it good? She's like, yeah, it looks good. So yeah, first one's out, second one's already out, 3rd one is in process right now. Working
You
on
don't
it.
get a sample?
I could order one, but I just think it's probably going to be okay. And it was.
No, but when you do that, you don't automatically get a sample as part of the process?
No, you could. I mean, like, you could pay for it and take the time for it to get to you, but I'm like, it's Amazon. Like, they should know what they're doing. And yeah, it turned out fine.
I'm surprised. I thought that
Yeah,
was a part of that process.
it's called a proof. And back in the day, I would have, but I mean, it's 2025, and people are self-publishing all the time, so they've got their kinks worked out.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we want to talk about before hopping off. Oh, there was one other thing. Not that it really matters, but I just want to like close the thread on this. Remember since we're talking about zombie stuff, remember I watched 28 Years Later and was mad about it. So I did end up watching it again like the next week. And because my expectations were a lot lower, and because I knew about the whole story and how things might thread together, and because I was able to see the first 5 minutes because I was late the first time I saw it, but the second time I was on time and I saw the beginning of it. By the way, as far as like me being late, it's really tough to figure out how to be on time at Regal Cinema, because a Regal movie theater, because they will have, I'm not exaggerating when I say this, for some of the movies they will have 45 minutes of stuff before they actually start the movie, like from showtime to you're seeing the first frame. Yes, some of them are 45 minutes. It's mind-blowing. I don't understand. And then others, it'll be more like you walk in 20 minutes after the start of showtime and they're a couple minutes deep into the movie. I'm like, I don't know when to arrive to these things. So
you don't like trailers?
5 minutes late, huh?
You don't like trailers? I used to love trailers.
I love trailers. That's not what this is. Like, it's a mix of trailers and progressive ads and like the same trivia every single time, where it's like one question. I'm like, guys, we know what this is. and then like an ad for concessions, and like there's seriously like maybe 3 trailers in all of that. I wish it was 45 minutes of trailers. I'd be in heaven. No, it is not that.
It's been so long since I've been to a movie theater. Wow. I have to figure that out. I don't think I've been to a movie since COVID.
What?
Think about it.
Why? Okay, wait. Jamie Allen says, are they like Jackie Collins or are they like 50 Shades? I actually am not a consumer of romance novels, so I don't know. The little bit that I know about 50 Shades of Grey, I don't know, because I don't know what the Jackie Collins stuff is like. I can tell you that everything is respectful, and I know in 50 Shades of Grey, there's like some.
Yeah, by your description, I don't think it's anywhere close to 50 Shades.
Unless he is just saying like how detailed is it? It's got some details. It's details.
Yeah,
but it's not. But there's nothing like forceful or disrespectful that happens in it, so it's not like 50 Shades of Grey in that way. Again, I haven't read it. I just know that like that's people's perception of 50 Shades, that it like I think everything's consensual, but it's still a little bit like, what have you consented to? Yeah. Anyway, all right. So, but yeah, so I saw the movie again 28 years later, and it was more palatable the second time. Still nowhere near what it could have been, and I do hope they make all 3 of part 3 A, B, and C, and I hope that part 2, so 3B, I guess, is better, the one that comes out in January. We shall see.
So there is going to be another
movie, huh?
There's going to be another one.
There's supposed to be 3. So there's supposed to be 3 A, B, C. Nobody's calling it that. I haven't heard anybody call it that, but for me, that's the easiest way to talk about it. And so we just saw 3A. 3B is January, and then 3C still hasn't been made and won't get made. They won't get the funding if there's not enough sales for like what just got released. I'm like, guys, get your shit together for the second one, because like if nobody watches this, you can't fund the third one. Like, what are you doing? So, yeah, this is a scattered plot.
I have to watch that. I haven't gotten.
All right, time for a pee break. Then we'll get to it. And who's the spirit animal? Koala. So it's gonna be great. Aaron, are you gonna be able to come? Or are you going to bed?
I'm going to try to stay for the whole thing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, but I'm going to try to.
All right. Well, we'll do like a 90-second pee break. I'll hop off and then come back on right away. And then I'll probably just keep it to like a 30-minute session. So, because it's a marathon on Mondays. Huh?
I'll definitely be there. In 30 minutes, I can definitely do that.
Excellent. We'll just like drop right in. All right. Love everybody here very much. See you guys in 90 seconds. All right, Aaron, thank you so much. And Jamie, we'll probably see you